So I need a way to get the number of grapheme spans inside a paragraph. We already have that. No, I don't actually. Well, it would be the size of this vector. The set width already needs to do a wrapping of the paragraphs, I think. Or does it? Actually, no, I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. So you can do the, you can call set width, and then you're ready for the rep 2, I guess. Wait a minute, that's weird. No, it's not weird. So, well, what is weird is that my rep 2 passes it. It passes stuff. It passes columns. I don't want it to pass columns. I want that to be set in advance, which means that I have that value, that those columns in LayoutItem as in the properties, I think. Yeah. No, here, assigned width. Assigned width is what we should use for the rep 2. And it is private. Maybe it should be protected. Or, well, or I can call this maybe better. So rep2 should use assigned width, I think. I think that already guarantees that the number of columns is larger than 0. I don't think I would ever assign yes a width that is 0, would I? And then the name rep2 is wrong. I have to convert that or change that, or I don't know. As soon as I make that standard vector GraphemeSpans, I want to immediately afterwards write them to an end cursor window, pad or something. And we have to remember that, but it is the caller that needs to remember the vector, because it might need to collect more than one of those standard vectors and then alternate between them while writing. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to pass the vector to this function and then just fill it. So I have a GraphemeSpan here. Yeah, on the other hand, I mean, you kind of pass it as well if you just, you know, the return type is also something that is passed. Compilation. call it generate instead of convert. Let's rename this thing. Well, generate doesn't really sound like it returns them. Ridiculous. Spawn maybe. Produce. The one I had was create is also a good word. Build, yeah. Produce, spawn, construct, build. This is pretty much what I'm thinking about. Forge even. That's a wonderful word. Conceive. Nah, maybe not, but still. I love Forge actually. Falsify? What does it even mean, Forge? I thought it was like in a counterfeit. Oh, what? Forge? Oh, this is a whole different word than I thought it was. Oh, okay. I thought it was something like holding it in the fire of a what's this guy called with a hammer and a fire? Blacksmith, yeah. Kit forge. Make or shape a metal object by heating it in a fire. Exactly. Blacksmith. So that's I don't know what this thing was talking about, but forge means what I thought it did mean. Forge GraphemeSpans. Okay, suddenly it doesn't look that wonderful anymore. What else do we have? I don't know. Forge. Yeah, just build. I don't know, man. Produce. Sounds a bit like a magician. Produce them out of thin air. Construct isn't bad as well, but it sounds a bit too much like a constructor. Maybe assemble, compose. Establish. Make. Create build. Establish. Expensive word. No, isn't a good word for it. We're gonna go for produce. No. Yeah, I guess that's at least the worst word that I can find. Very close to construct without being a constructor. It has something expensive about it. It's not like get or so or something like that. And yeah. We have it afterwards. It's not like, you know, calculate something or do something CPU intensive and then come back with nothing or just a result. I mean, a short result. It's just the whole thing. Everything that gets constructed here and created is returned. So I kind of like this word, I think. Well, now I first have to set the width, which is, I think we have a layout item, or the paragraph is derived from this, and that has an assigned width, and you can't touch it. Only the horizontal layout can touch it. Ugh. Can redesign the API, of course, but still. This has to go. I'm not going to do a grapheme block. Took me like a whole day to come up with that word, but now it's gone. Is that even possible? There's wait a minute. No, there's a public function. That is definitely possible then. function is a bit weird. Actually, what? Why would a pad be a wrapper around paragraphs? Yeah, what? A pad can contain a lot more, of course, and only a list of paragraphs. I could call this a paragraph pad. Yeah, no. Something is wrong with the pad. Uh-oh. If we fix the pad, then maybe this is not necessary. Being able to pass columns. If the pad. Phew. I don't know. Let's call it a paragraph pad and keep it. Although, I don't know. Can't even do this. Yeah, this okay. Whoa, well, annoying. So this is not possible. But there is no this there. We are not yet part of the object itself. Yeah, but I didn't want to use a grapheme block. And it's still compiling, complaining. So I wrote in the description of the... Are you even looking at the chat? Sometimes. Yeah, the chat is very not visible, hardly visible at the moment, because I have the thing open. Why is that not working? There's the chat. It's a bit dark. And on the other monitor is a little bit smaller. So, yeah. Horizontal layout is a list of standard unique pointer for each layout item. It's a base class of a BasicTextSpan and therefore StyledTextSpan or HyperlinkedTextSpan or paragraph. Only the latter can exist of more than one GraphemeSpan that each need to go on a separate line. While the TextSpan can be converted to a GraphemeRun that could be wrapped as the only run in a GraphemeSpan, that makes little sense, and the spacer can't be wrapped like that anyway. Instead, both need to provide a direct write to member function. In order to combine those with any paragraphs and those with each other, the paragraphs need an easy way to obtain the number of GraphemeSpans they contain and a write to that writes a specific one, but we can only get those that number if we first create them. So the horizontal layout needs a write to, I think, which then is going to do all the work. I already have a write to. The GraphemeSpan itself has a write to. You can copy that to here. Let's call the window here. I think I am, well, no. Do I want to combine this with the set width or not? No. No. This should be called in advance. So can I check that it is already called? That would be important. This is going to call... No, this is going to... Yeah, well, assign the assigned width. Seriously, this doesn't have no underscore. Oh, it is an item. Yeah, it's going to call this, of assign that. If any of those would still be unknown, or unlimited for that matter, then it's not usable. Thus, I need to be able to run over all items. Kind of like this, and then check that they are all set. What I have is pointers to layout, the number of items. I'll copy that, I guess, from here. I'll click cancel here. So I need to run over all items and then check that their width is set. Well, not really, but that would be an assert, and I could do that as part of debug code. It's probably already going to happen anyway if I just use it. Maybe we should not do that. Let's assume it is set for now. Or I could do a single assert maybe at the top. Just check the first one. Yeah. I don't like the loop, the whole loop thing. Oh, an empty horizontal layout is also a bit fishy. I don't. Let's not accept that either. I'm going to assert that number of items is larger than 0. Which now exists because the number of items is larger than 0. Assigned with stuff. Wait a minute. Layout items front is a pointer. A unique pointer. So I do a pointer and the pointer to a layout item which has an assigned width, and I get back a width, and I want to. It's already unknown, so the only thing I have to check is that it's not unlimited. It's not unknown, I mean. Is that true? Assigned with, except I can call that and then get back. I can still get back unlimited, but that would be silly as well. Maybe that is just never ever happening. That would be a much better test, I guess, at the moment that it is being assigned. Let's create a set assigned with, but currently I have a horizontal layout as a friend, so it can assign this stuff. I want this to be the only class that can do that. And to preserve that fact, I'm still going to need all accessors. I need a set assigned width, which is simply public, but start with a batch. Equals batch for the horizontal layout, and then only horizontal layout can create this object, and therefore that's the only one that can call this function. Am I even assigning a width? Wondering. It's the only place where I do that. Might as well add yeah, okay, this maybe now it's silly. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Anyway, this one is simply an unsigned int. So it cannot even be unlimited. I guess there's nothing to test then. Yeah, okay. Well, let's not do that. So it's not unknown, then it is assigned, and then when it is assigned, it's not unlimited. Yeah, there's nothing to test even. If I call it, then it will assert already. So I might as well just use it, and then we get an assert with the text call setWidth before using that function. So no need to do this. So I'm going to create vectors of grapheme spans for each item that is a paragraph. I'm not even sure. Can I test that it is a paragraph in advance? I mean, I kind of have to. I think, kind of have to, alright. I mean, this is the function that needs to remember all the, or own all the standard vectors of grapheme spans. But I don't want to create them, and I don't need them, and I can't use them even for a spacer or a TextSpan object. So I don't think there's even the possibility to add a virtual function to the TextSpan base class to handle this. I really have to check that it is a paragraph in advance, and then handle that in a basically a more special way. Okay, it's not that easy. Thus, the layout item. Well, no, let's see what paragraph. The paragraph is derived from the layout item, and it has no virtual functions that say that it is. I can just, I'll have to do a dynamic cast, I guess, because I need to cast it to. If it is a paragraph, I need to cast it. I think otherwise I can't call this function on it. That's the way to do it, I'm afraid. Or afraid, I mean, it's not that expensive. So let's first get my let's get the layout item pointer. Probably const, I'm just going to print it. And I'm going to try to cast it to a paragraph. And if that succeeds, cannot do that like this. Like this, like this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so what we get here, it is a paragraph, in which case we need to call and remember the result of create GraphemeSpan. Well, this then, if it is called, should do my check. It should call assigned with. I guess that happens here then. Yep. At the same time, I think I need to collect the number of rows, the maximum number of rows that exist. Might as well do that immediately. Oh, I can do that afterwards. I don't know what is more clean. Then I have to run over these things again. Get the rows from. Oh, it is just the size of the standard vector. Aha. Which is a size type, which is unsigned, blah blah blah. Okay, I'll make this one assigned. Size type as well. Otherwise, I think there's nothing to do, right? Unless I want to use this loop to immediately write everything. Well, the first thing. Yeah, I can do that. Let's begin with the paragraphs themselves. So if it is a paragraph, and then I want to print here the... Okay, why is it indenting like that? Oh, I've got so paragraph. I guess that is called a write to. The paragraph has a write to. Does it? We have a GraphemeSpan write to. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I need. Yes. So I want to write that and then pass the basic window in the default rendition. We have to call that on the first GraphemeSpan of the paragraph. So we're not really here, not on the paragraph, but well, the paragraph spans back again, front. Okay, completely screwing this up. The paragraph GraphemeSpans. Maybe it should be paragraphs as well. I don't know. Well, I can't decide rather. Yeah. Well, plural is enough. Back is the one that we just emplaced. So now we have we're talking about the standard vector, and then we get the front. And then we have a GraphemeSpan, and then can call write to on that. Sounds about right. Otherwise, I still only have a layout item, which is then either a spacer or a TextSpan. And yeah, those also need special treatment. I don't even have another write to. I have to add them. I'm thinking about adding the write to as a virtual function to the layout item, but that would not work for the paragraph, I think. I mean that if I would do that, then I would have to generate the whole thing again, create a GraphemeSpan vector again, and I don't want to do that, obviously. Yeah. The virtual function is kind of the same thing as doing dynamic cast, but then in a different way. And I did one dynamic cast, and then afterwards I'm sure that is not a paragraph, so it's more safe-ish, or I don't know, it's just both work, but which is more clear? If I do a dynamic cast here, then I would have to extend this. If ever I will add another class that is also derived from a TextSpan, then I would have to extend this. And in that light, I'm inclined to use a virtual function, I must say. Hello, Nikita. I'll type hi as well, because you never know what the lag is doing. Yeah, I think I should probably implement this virtual function first, and then maybe test it even before printing the remaining rows. So that does have a signature equal to this one, and add it to this class. Tillman, what do you mean? I have a description below the video. The application is a CLI. I'm working on the end-cursor front end. So here I have open code. It's the same kind of front end that I'm making. So you need to be able to produce that output, like scrolling and clicking and selecting and colors and all kinds of stuff. The other was spacer. Yeah, let's just add all of them first. Trying to remember with spacer is always a using default rendition. Probably. It's also not clear what a rendition is at this moment. We just wrote something else that might have changed the rendition. Should I change it again? Should I just change the rendition before printing anything? I mean, I'm tempted to, not do that. I don't like doing library calls when I'm not 100% sure what exactly they do, if not required. So I could cache the rendition and then only send the changed rendition to the ncurses library if they really needed to be changed. But that means that I have to keep track of it locally, which I bet the ncurses library already does. So it's probably nonsense. I should just set the rendition every time, I guess. I think, yeah. Let's just do that. Goes against my instincts, but I think it's the best thing to do. And this is a Wordle function, and I'm not going to inline it. Just nonsense. No, there's nothing to run. Absolutely nothing to run. Well, that's not true. I'm not going to run anything. The piece that I'm working on cannot be shown yet. Maybe in an hour, if I'm lucky. I'm working towards testing that this works, and then I need a little test program that actually writes something to the screen. Unless, of course, you mean that I run... does it even compile at the moment? Well, I can run Linux 09 as a test. Very interesting test. There, I did run it. Okay, no fair. It even wrote debug output, so there you are. That's what I just wrote. So now you know. Write to, yeah, okay, so this is rolled up. And then I need to do the same thing for TextSpan. Already did that. I have an override here, yep. So now we need to implement them. Let's implement the spacer first. Copy this, go to with non-existing spacer. We'll just have to add it. Would be nice if that was more automatic than just having to copy this all the time. So I said I'm going to set the rendition for everything, which is I think set attribute, which doesn't get highlighted. Attribute set. No. We're looking for writing spaces. The only thing I'd want to do is write a string, doesn't it? Must be one of the add strings. I have an add character. But yeah, doing the loop myself isn't going to help, I think. I think this is the best one. For this one, but I probably already know the length, so I don't know. I'm gonna go for the white string. So I need to create a white string of assigned with spaces. I think data is guaranteed to be null terminated. This would work. Oh. Oh well. I think that's about it. No, I can just go here. But where to put it? Just copy this. It doesn't even remotely look the same, but in the end, I do need to call something like this, except no spaces, but TextSpan. Let's get then, well, I have a wide string here, and I think I have that also here. I don't. This is a new 8 string. Oh, to convert that one as well. What? Still have to convert that one. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, I get my wide string from got Grapheme something. GraphemeRun, yeah, I need to convert it to a GraphemeRun, I think. So GraphemeRun. And then once I have that, I have my wide string, theoretically. And we can write that. Although it's not totally clear how much I must write here. Okay, let's say length. And then this should be the wide string data. The GraphemeRun, and then convert that to the wide string. GraphemeRun has a wide string, so I need a str. Oh yeah, str. That gives me a wide string const reference, which I might need more than once. Let's do auto. Well, the const, of course, otherwise reference, I mean. The full type, reference string, const reference. Could do auto reference, but I'm not a fan of using auto actually. I could use C string here, but I need a length anyway, I think, because I need to know how much spaces we need to add at the end. Plus, what does add string take for length? Int, really. Okay, so int length. That is in the wide string length or size, same thing. But at most width. Let's call this available width, because it goes nicely with the standard min. Required width, same thing. Now both are standard size type, so that works. Get back a standard size type, and then maybe it will for certainly it will complain. Okay, let's keep it standard size type here. Cast it here. Still need to create my GraphemeRun from the current TextSpan. Can just pass the TextSpan to it. That is a constructor. Okay, so that might or might not have set a rendition, and we might not have enough white space at the end. I need to fill it up with spaces, and the question is, what rendition shall I use for that? Maybe I can add a feature to it, and if the last character of the TextSpan is a space, then we just extend the rendition as it was. Otherwise, I'll set it to default rendition for any required additional spaces. Could do if okay, we're gonna calculate those from this, so it's also a size type. Now it's unsigned, so if this is true, then it is larger than 0. The only way to be false is when it is 0. So I need additional spaces, and then I need to check whether or not the last character was a space. And that is the last character of the whole thing, not the last character that we wrote, I think. Actually, yeah, I know, of course, it's the same thing actually. Because there will not be any extra with extra additional spaces needed if the thing got truncated. So if it is not truncated, then it's simply the last character of the string, of this string here. So if normally I check for white space, but it's more expensive than just checking for a space, and all the white space besides a normal space are weird things like line feed and a new line and get return, and I don't want those anyway. I think I'm just going to check if it is a space or not. But how to do that on a white string? So given some standard white string, how do I test if the last character is a space? Probably going to compare with an L space again. Yeah, totally. I feel like typing sorry for asking such a stupid question. Now I'm curious what it will say. Not going to do that. Okay, copying does not work from this interface. You have to select it as the one thing and then copy it like that, otherwise you don't get it. Paste. Where the text is the white string. Maybe we should call it text. Nah. I'm using text for UTF-8 strings, not for graphemes. Actually, this is a GraphemeRun, yeah. So why am I not calling it? Why am I calling it a white string? It's still a GraphemeRun. It is the white string of the GraphemeRun. Isn't it like super irritating that I'm using a separate thing here? I'm repeating it a lot, but this str is just an inlined accessor anyway. How many do we have those? 22. Okay, let's not do that. GraphemeRun has a it's just an access inline thingy. Let's just use that or everywhere. Substitute white string with GraphemeRun str. think the GraphemeRun has its own empty though. Vector empty, yeah, which is also calling the empty onster. So if it does end on a space, then I just don't want to change the rendition. So rather I should check the opposite. And it's not going to be empty, right? I would be stupid. Yeah, maybe it's empty. I don't know. So if it's empty or it's unequal space. Wait a minute. If it is empty, did I change the rendition in that case? Yeah, it's just a safety for not accessing back. In that case, if, which I can add at the end in a second, if we did not use the default rendition to begin with, then I want to set the rendition back to the default rendition. Yeah, and then follows the same code as the spacer is doing. I'm not gonna construct a spacer, I think. I just copy this code. We could create a spacer and then I have to set the assigned width and blah blah blah. So nah. Did we end, and then this is going to be happening as well, so no. And I already have that one now. To basically just copy these two lines. required width. It's almost, it's both required and a maximum and a minimum, and it's what the hell. I would love to use assigned width, but then I can't use this. I mean, then it's hiding that, I think. Could use this. Let's see how this compiles. It's complaining about everything except what I just wrote. Basic window and rendition need to be forward declared everywhere. Did I say everywhere? Yeah, and so that does not work. What is it complaining about here? Incomplete basic window. I finally composed an answer to the question, why don't you have a webcam? Though that guy has already gone for since a long time, of course. But the answer is probably something like, because I don't always feel like combing my hair. I don't like to have to take care of how I look, I guess. All the time, like streaming. I used to stream a lot, like every day. Yeah, duh. I'm not gonna wash my hair every day. Every day. No, I'm not streaming as often, but still. And also because I like to keep real life and internet completely separated. If I show my face exactly once, then it's too late. Face recognition done, linked. So yeah, no images of me on the internet. The bloody error here. Shall we? I'm postponing it, but passing a const paragraph to this create GraphemeSpans. Why would that be non-const? It's just nonsense. This one is also const. Why is this not just const? Serious linking error. Warning. Creating DT text rel in a pie. Okay, remove the build here. Help. Gone. No, resource. Figure. Let's start to use that kind of words and just rebuild everything. Oh my god, it's still doing the same thing. Okay. Undefined reference to vtable of a layout item. Oh. Undefined virtual table. Yeah, I didn't define it for the paragraph. So I have an item, layout item, and we have a paragraph. And we add it. Go away. I added a virtual function to this thing. Which says no. Might as well. I mean, if I really don't want to do that, I might as well make it a pure virtual. Which then would have forced me to implement it here. There's no other virtuals here. Let's put it here. Oh, I don't like that. What the hell? Still, well, got less errors, but relocation against in read-only sector. In function spacer create undefined reference. Oh no, now I understand it again. Well, this hocus pocus, but undefined reference to something related to vtables is simply missing in implementation of some virtual function. And the only virtual function I added was what I just added. I thought I added that to spacer, but apparently not. So this one, it's in a pure virtual function. It must be implemented in 3 classes. And I guess spacer is not one of them. This one is now implemented. Oh, this one is not implemented. Or actually it is implemented, but I've got to add this to the CMake file. Include BasicWindow.h, and that should take care of the rendition as well, I think. Yay, it works. Okay then, next I would say is I can do a small test, and then I'm gonna watch a movie or something. There are no such thing as a small test. However, I have a thing that is, I think this one. This has lots of layouts. It's not called show, it's called write to. We just made it, and it's not called write to because it doesn't highlight. It should have been highlighting. GraphemeSpan, horizontal layout, write to, yeah. So it is called write to, which means that I swapped probably config. This one is debug. This one is beta test. Yeah, that's why then. It's kind of strange because I thought I did a resource in this window, or did I do it in the other window? I did it in the other window. Okay, resource and configure. That's nonsense. Nothing compiles. Oh, okay. So the write to does exist, and it is highlighted now. And then we have a basic window. In this case, just the whole what is it? Terminal. And then top left should be where we start. Let's say I can do a move to that. And then this must be the default rendition. So I need some kind of a default rendition. Default rendition. Surely we have that already somewhere in some test. Test. I don't see a test that has it. It's annoying. Well, it probably does, but it's not calling a default rendition. Okay, grab rendition tests something. You know what? Forget it. I'll just make my own rendition. How does one make a rendition? I don't have a preference because I never make a GUI. 30 years of C++ experience and I never made a GUI. Well, never. I hated it. I have never dived into that. There is so much other things to do. So yeah, maybe that's why I have so little users basically, because everything I write is libraries, production increasing libraries, robustness increasing libraries. Nothing end user, nothing graphical. So most people are not interested, I guess. No, at least not normal users. The most user interface thing I ever wrote is the IRC daemon, yeah, not even the client. And that of course had hundreds, thousands, maybe even a million users that were using IRC. But yeah, like I said, I didn't write the client, so even then not the user interface. Just say I made a new command, and then people could use the command, a new slash command. Probably loads of them, but also there never got any feedback, obviously. Rendition, yeah, color pair attributes. Let's just use a color pair. So we have to create a color pair. Try this one, underline. No. Okay, can make a color pair. How does one create a color pair? Color pair is created from an index. How do you get the color pair index? Context create color pair. Context, terminal context. Foreground and background. Create. You have to pass both. Thing has a default rendition. Yeah, that would be a very boring thing, maybe. Well, maybe to test less cache. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Let's choose that. So there's a default rendition that we can call on the terminal context. On context itself. What? We'd say on the window. Actually. Does the window not have that? Default rendition. This is the context. Yeah, we have another one. A paragraph. Texts. What's it to? Basic window. Yeah, it's just the interface to end cursors. Yeah. We're not waiting for anything. Which of these things wait for something? I think some 8 waits for something. It totally waits for something. That's a bit too weighty. Int white character. I think that's blocking. Maybe unused. Pretty sure it's unused. What am I doing? 9. That's awesome, except for the visible cursor. So you're telling me that even though we have this total width, it was not possible to add another control sequence after it. So you have one space for the spacer, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't know. You mean 5 or 6? It's not clear. I think 5, because it cursor's just put after it. So we had only 5 things left. Yeah, that's not enough for another one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we make it one wider, then maybe the next control is put behind it as well. Let's make it one wider. How do we make it one wider? Set width 43. What? Oh no. Huh? Layout 1. Never mind. 17. Let's make this 18. And you print one more, I think. And it doesn't. Oh, there's also a comma. Yeah, okay. So to fit this on one row together with the first 3 of this. So 1, 2, 3, and a space of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 unnecessary. Code is completely right, at least if now it shows it. And it does. Yeah, good. And we only get to see one line, because I didn't implement the next lines yet. So we change this back to what it was, 17. And we give some kind of rendition to the exit text. How would I do that? Well, then you would have to create something with a rendition. I think you just pass a rendition to it. Rendition. I think here. Try something. And I need to make a rendition. Now I really need to make a rendition. I have no clue what to pass here. Pass, we have something, and we can see if it's readable. So yeah, though this got some rendition, and then this one, the spacer was reset because, well, it's just a spacer. This is not the trailing stuff. So the spacer has its own rendition, which is the default rendition. And I can give this certain rendition. So let's say yeah, this is the foreground. Let's make the foreground a lot wider. DDCC. And then I want to have a rendition for this thing here. A little bit different. And then the annoying thing is that it went on because white space fits. And then what doesn't fit goes to the next line. But because the whole thing doesn't end on the space, I switch back to the default rendition here. I guess that in the case of a paragraph, you always want to extend using the same rendition as the last space, or if of the whole paragraph rather. The paragraph should have had, this is a paragraph. The paragraph should have used this rendition. And then this should have been the default rendition. Or not. Actually, it is, but I'm going to watch a movie though. Yeah, enough callers for today. Good night.